If you would kindly put your name and email address and service position in the chat, that'd be great. And we are, so just a note from the communication committee, which is where this offering comes from. We've changed the frequency from monthly to every other month. And part of the reason I'm imagining that our attendance is a little bit lower than sometimes is because there was a little bit of, what's a non-swearing way to say this? Just a little messiness in that transition. So apologize for that. We are meeting today, and then we will meet in March, still on the second Sunday of the month. And we'll be getting that information out in lots of different ways, so you know that. Today, we are going to hear from the Board of Trustees about the events that happened at the October World Service Conference. And we're ready to dive right into that. Is it Grania? Shall I introduce you?
Mm-hmm.
Here's
Yes.
Grania.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody. Grania in Ireland, still the chair of the board for a few more months. I am going to share my screen and show you a quick summary, which, since so few people are here, we could put it on the website, and we can provide links in Facebook and on the GreyNet to the presentation. Can you see the presentation on the screen? Thank you. Great. Before I start, does anybody have anything they want to say about the conference, or want to specifically hear about the conference, or were wondering about the conference meeting? Anything particular that you want to make sure we talk about? Okay, well, because we are so few and we have no other items on the agenda, please feel free to jump in and let's take questions and discussion at any point. So here we are reviewing the conference that we just had, October 27th, 2024, and maybe looking forward a bit to the next conference, and also what is happening immediately following the conference. What are the roles? What are the tasks that we have to do right after the conference? So to review about participation in the conference is the annual group conscience of the entire fellowship, as modeled on Alcoholics Anonymous. The fellowship is primarily driven and comprised of groups, and every registered group has the right to elect and send a representative or a delegate. So we have about 146 groups up there at the top of the triangle. I just checked this with Mindy, who is our group registrar. Because groups do not like to submit updates of their registrations, I know our registration list is not as accurate as I personally would like it to be, but we have about 146 registered groups around the world in the intergroups that you see on the right-hand side of the screen. So you'll know we have an intergroup on the list called Africa, Asia, and Australia, which, you know, has to be the biggest intergroup region in the history of intergroups. But they now have one group in Cambodia. So the Cambodian GreySheet group is alive and kicking and draws lots of newcomers every week. They have not yet organized an intergroup because they're not there yet. La Comunidad Hispana is our newest intergroup, which was formed a year or 2 years ago. They had a big spurt of groups register, and now they've settled back down and closed a bunch of them that didn't make it over time, but they have 7 groups, and the rest of them you can see there. So 146 groups, and that means that each one of them gets to send a delegate, and we had 28 of them register a delegate to the conference. 28 of them elected a GSR and sent them to the conference. We have those 10 organized intergroups, and 7 of them sent delegates to the conference. And then, excuse me, the Board of Trustees all function as delegates to the conference. And we want there to be 16 Board of Trustee members. We had 8 at the time of the conference, and all 8 of them registered. So we had a total of 46 registrants, 33% of what we would have liked, or what we could have had. And 40 of them attended the conference. Does anybody have any questions about who gets to be a delegate, how you get to be a delegate, and any of the above? Or comments about being a delegate? No? Okay. So over time, our registration has varied. We started meeting as a conference in 2013 with 40 total delegates, and this year we had 44. Actually, I know I just said 46, and so I don't know why it's different on this graph, but 44, 46 delegates register. So we haven't grown over the years. We've gone up and down, and we're sort of where we started. On the second graph, you see that over the years, the number of GSRs has varied, but the number of ISRs and trustees who have registered has pretty much stayed static over the years. And in 2023, we created a new type of delegate, that's the specialist position. And that's because one of the concepts for World Service says that if you do serious business for the conference, you ought to get a voice, even if you aren't a GSR or an ISR or a trustee. So if you're doing some kind of service, some kind of responsible position, then you get to be a delegate called a specialist. And we have 2 of those positions created, one on the communication committee and one on the literature committee. And the person on the literature committee is the managing editor. Her job is to shepherd publications through the process and get them published. And that's Sarah in France, and she is our only specialist delegate at this moment. Any questions about registration over time? Then this next one is in case you wanted to see your intergroup over time. So the first graph includes Connecticut, Europe, Iceland, Israel, and La Comunidad Hispana. And the second graph shows New York Metro, which always has the most registered delegates. That's the orange at the top of the second graph. The green is the Southern Central Intergroup. And the Phone Bridge and Western States, which has quite a few delegates. So the patterns are pretty much the same. Connecticut has gone down in registration, and Europe has gone up, but nothing is dramatic. Linda.
On the bottom axis, you have 1 through 8. Is that the years of World Service conferences?
It is, because I couldn't figure out how to get to put the years in there again. So on the previous graph, it's in there, 2013 through 2024. But on this one, I couldn't figure out how to get it in there. Yeah. Okay. So no questions about intergroups. All right. So how did the conference function this time? We had 6 proposals and a bunch of organizational business to get done. Everything passed, everything was adopted. Many of the items on the agenda were adopted with unanimous consent, meaning that we didn't even take a vote. There was just no objection. Most of the proposals had 1 or 2 at the most no votes. So pretty much a lot of agreement on the proposals. And so what comes out of this conference? As a result of this conference meeting, the trustee on the board who is a non-compulsive eater now has a job description. So that's one of the first things we did. We adopted the job description for the non-compulsive overeater, basically answering the question, why do we have one and what requirements do they need to meet and what will they do when they're there? Also, we adopted guidance for trusted servants in intergroups. So now intergroups have a document that gives their trusted servants some guidance on their roles. The literature committee can continue their work on the booklet for the newcomer, which was suggested by many people. The literature committee is already working on it, but now they have the conference's approval. We agreed with an amendment that said you can serve as a chair of a committee without having to be a GSR or an ISR. So we amended the committee chair job description. We made the board of trustees responsible for helping the committees find chairs and members. And we changed our personal safety position so that to make it less likely that any GreySheet entity will be sued by somebody who feels like their personal safety wasn't protected through their involvement in our program. So those are the major accomplishments of the proposals that we adopted. Colette?
What for number 6 was actual new verbiage given or recommended?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in the resolution that we adopted.
So the language is in the resolution.
Yeah.
And that's what I should get to my group. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I had forgotten that it was there. Okay.
Yes, it's in the document. Linda?
On number 3, I don't mean, it's kind of funny, but I read they're going to get to twerk, so you might want to
Yes.
fix that.
I like that.
I like
I saw that myself.
it. Okay, thanks.
I don't think the literature committee is going to be twerking. But that was a great typo there. Thank you, Linda. Maggie?
Yeah, no twerking from us. Are these 6 points going to be written and distributed anywhere, or do I have to frantically transcribe them here in this meeting?
Well, I mean, I just suggested a minute ago that because there are so few here today that we could post this on the internet and we could all direct our groups and intergroups and committees to go here and see it on the website. Did I say, I said internet, I meant on our website. And we could post on Facebook and on the GreyNet that there's a link to this presentation on the website. But other than that, I'm not writing up a summary of the conference and
Okay. That would be great. How soon would that probably go up on the website?
Oh, we usually give Kim a few days to get these things up. So within the week.
I'm just thinking of trying to get the information out to my committee members.
Well, you're a board member. I can post it on our board member WhatsApp group and you can have a link to this document, to this PowerPoint.
Awesome. Thank you. That's handy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And if somebody is really smart, I suppose Joey, could somebody take this PowerPoint and put it on the Facebook page?
I was just, you read my mind. If you email me today, we will make it happen to put a link on that particular PowerPoint so that anyone who's on our Facebook will be able to just click on that link.
But it would be, since it's not posted on the website yet, it can't be a link to the website. It has to be the document itself.
Right. So we're gonna put in a Google Doc link.
Okay.
That would go to that Google Doc
Very
link
good.
and it would go there. Yep.
Okay, very good. So yes, thank you, Maggie. Good thoughts.
Thank
Any-
you very much. Thank you, Joey.
Yeah. And I can send it to the WhatsApp group for the board members and the chairs and ISRs. Unfortunately, I don't have one that gets every GSR out there. Any other comments about the major achievements of the conference? Okay, so then every year by law, because we are a registered New York nonprofit, we have to have, it's very, very simple what New York requires from nonprofits. It's very basic, but it does require that the organization have an annual meeting to do some very minimal work, one of which is to approve the minutes of the last meeting, which we did. The official record of the 2023 conference meeting was approved the financial records and how we're keeping our finances. And we nominated 5 new trustees, and we readopted all previous resolutions. So those are the minimal things that we need to do every year as an organization. The bylaws for our organization say that the members of the organization are the groups. So the business of the organization is directed by the groups, and that means we have to have an opportunity for the groups to send a representative and do the business of the organization. And that's why we have a conference meeting every year. Okay. So after the conference, the top of this flow chart here, the minutes have already been posted on the website. They were first approved by the board and then published on the website. I believe, but I can't find, so tell me if I did. I thought I emailed all the delegates to say, here's your transcript and go to the website to see the minutes. But I can't find that email anywhere. Does anybody recall receiving the transcripts in the mail? Okay, so I'm going to do that by January 30th. I'll send the transcript to everybody and a link to the minutes. Then you can tell me if I need to correct the minutes, and then they will be corrected and available on the website by March 31st. The transcript, according to the World Service Conference in 2013, the word-for-word description, record of what everybody said and by name is only supposed to be seen by the people who were there. So that's why it's emailed to the delegates. Okay, has anybody got any questions about what's going to happen with the records of the meeting? Okay. So what we ask all delegates to do after the conference is to present the summary of the votes to your group, explain how the resolutions might affect them, describe your experience as a delegate. Hopefully it was a positive one, and you would be encouraging other people to consider taking on the role. If your 2 years are up, then support the incoming GSR and help them get ready for next year's conference. And if you are rotating out as a GSR at the end of, in October, if you did rotate out, please update your registration so we have current contact information for current GSRs. Linda.
If I was not a GSR last time, so I would not be getting the transcript, what is it I share with my groups?
The summary of votes, which is on the website under the conference.
Okay, thank you.
It's this document here. Whoops, here.
Yes, right.
One that just
Okay.
says, this is what we voted on, this is what the vote was.
And that's what I'll share. Okay, thank you.
I mean, I figured they don't want to see the minutes. The minutes are too long and detailed.
Right,
But
I figured that.
we had these 6 proposals, and
Yeah.
this is what they mean.
And the major accomplishments. Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then pretty much the same thing for ISRs. Let me see. There are no ISRs here right now. Nope, no ISRs. But essentially, the ISR should really be doing the same thing with their intergroup. And as Stacy always says, when she was the ISR for Western states, for those groups that didn't have a GSR, she made sure to go and update them on the conference in person at their next business meeting. So I would love to see all of our ISRs doing that, but it is a big ask for those big intergroups like New York. Linda, did you have another question? Linda GS? No? Okay.
I'm unmuted. I mean, I muted, but I forgot to lower my hand. Thank you.
You're welcome. For those committees whose proposals were adopted, like literature, structure, the next step would be to make sure they get implemented. And that usually takes some follow-up. For example, the structure committee adopted we adopted the structure committee's proposal on intergroup service positions guidance, but is that published on the website? That is something we need to follow up on. It would be good. I don't think anybody's done it in a long time, but it would be good to have each of the committees go back through previous resolutions to see that they're all still current and being implemented or need to be adapted or amended if they aren't. So I'm not going to focus on this actually because our committees are in such state right now that really it's hard to talk about the committees being effective in their work. So as we go forward into 2025, our committees are in pretty straitened circumstances. So here are our 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 committees. The red blocks are where we do not have personnel. So we don't have a chair for the Finance Committee, the Public Information Committee, or the Website Committee. We don't have alternates on any of the committees that I'm aware of. We don't have secretaries to keep the records of many of the committees. And we have no voting members on several of the committees. So it's hard to talk about going forward in 2025 when the committees don't have enough people to really handle the work between the meetings when they decide to do things. The notes at the bottom of this page point out that 76% of delegates served on a committee. Seven delegates did not serve on any committee. So we have it's hard to do work when it's just you and 1 or 2 other people. It's hard to get up any enthusiasm. It's hard to keep the momentum going. I don't expect Spanish and Hebrew only speakers to engage with us on English speaking committees. So we do lose about 6 delegates who don't speak English, but there you go. And just on this page, 34% of the delegates attended the first training and 50% attended the second training. So it is possible that some of the delegates were not aware that our committees are the conference in action throughout the year. So the conference is not a working meeting. The work of the conference is done by small groups of us meeting throughout the year. So it is just assumed that delegates will serve as a member of the conference for the year on a committee. But unfortunately, that message is perhaps not being received or well received. Does anybody have any input, questions, thoughts about committee work? and why our committees are the way they are. Colette.
I'm speaking from the point of view of someone who has not done committee work. I just don't know how. I don't know how to get there. I work full time. I have a disabled child. I have volunteer work. I don't know what to say, but I have a feeling there are other people who feel as I do, just overwhelmed at. I just can't imagine when I would show up. I mean, I've regretted volunteering to be a GSR because even just coming here on once a month, and I don't know what to say, except I think there are probably many people out there who feel this, who are in the same boat.
Yep. I agree with you, Colette. I agree completely that not everybody has the time available to do the work that the committees need. Or that
And yet I see this and I think, well, could I work with Joey on communication? But I'm not sure. I don't know how much. I don't know what it entails either. So maybe I could talk with you separately, Joey.
Okay. One thought that I had is that in the AA service manual, in the concepts discussion, the essays on the concepts, Bill says that the way that the AA fellowship communicates with World Service is through the purse. If they like what World Service is doing and they want more of it, they will donate to support it. And it seems to me that if what the GreySheet Fellowship is doing is saying, if we want what you offer and we want to support it, we will volunteer. And if they don't volunteer, then they don't want it enough to volunteer. And so we just don't provide the services. And somebody said recently that Sheila, our new treasurer, said that we should, if there are no volunteers to provide a given service, then we cut that service from the menu of offerings of World Service. It's just no longer a part of what we do. So that's just what's going to happen. And then if people want it, they will step up. I think that's the bottom line on the service. Linda.
Yeah, what I heard Colette saying, and please correct me, Colette, if I'm wrong, it wasn't strictly about having time, but that's a big factor for you and a lot of people for a committee, but more not knowing where to go, what the committees are about, and how to participate. And I used to be on literature committee. I believe that they were getting together a booklet on all the committees and what it entailed. Am I right, Brania?
That has been published on the website. That is on the website under literature.
So please, Colette, that's where, if someone will direct you to it, that's really where you could get information to see if Joey's committee is accepting members. I know nominating, which I'm coming off of, was sort of filled up, but it tells about each of the committees. So maybe I'm wrong, but I heard you saying, how do I get involved with a committee? And I think that's the first step.
Thank you, Linda. Great idea. Maggie?
Yes, the pamphlet, it's called The Heartbeat of GSA Committees, and it is available under literature. And it does have a section for each one of the committees that includes who to contact, when the meetings are, what the details are, what they are looking for in terms of new members.
Yep,
So, yeah, Linda GS is correct. There is that, and Grania, there is that publication out there that tells what the committees are about and what they need.
Thank you, Maggie. So it's under literature on the website. Thank you. Stacy, and then Joey.
Hi, everyone. Stacy, compulsive eater. Sorry about the dog. I wanted to say that if people don't have time to participate on a committee during the actual committee time, it may be helpful to contact the chair of the committee if the committee has a chair and see what type of work you can do in between meetings, like on your own schedule, if it works for you right now. If it doesn't work for people right now, because, our lives are busy and sometimes certain times it's way, busier than other times, or certain life situations or events, then, we stay abstinent first. That's what we do. But if you can do it in between meetings, that's also really helpful. So that's just an idea.
Thank you, Stacy. Joey?
Pretty much, I want to piggyback on what, hi, Joey here, compulsive eater. I just want to piggyback on what Stacy had said to Colette and those people who are joining and wanted to be part of it. If it's hard for you to be in a meeting, like a monthly meeting, then you could volunteer as part of our committee. There are so many things that we could be part of. We could explain to anyone like Colette who's interested what we do, and we definitely need a lot of people to join us. Some of them are volunteers, some of them are committee members, and we would like to see if you have those things that we are looking for, and we would cater to what you are willing to join, what you willing to participate in our committee. Thank you, Grania.
Thank you, Joey. Maggie? Oh, you took your hand down?
No, that was just, Joey just said what I wanted to say. The Literature Committee has one very active volunteer that is always on a project, and we are very grateful for her. And she does not come to meetings. And she just keeps in touch with us and the projects. She's on one of my projects now.
Great. Thank you all. So what I would ask those of you who are here and have taken and made the time to be here today is to take the message out to your groups that World Services is just that. We provide services, but it isn't done by fairies and genies and magic dust. It's done by us. So if they want a website that is current, or if they want public information for the new members, or if they want to know that our finances are being handled transparently and accountably, then we need to spread the word that we are open to all of those things, but we need people to step up. And those people can be elected delegates, or they can be volunteers with 10 minutes a month or 10 hours a month, or an opinion and no skills, or whatever, but we need hands and voices one way or another, or the things just won't happen. And so people are saying, why isn't the website updated, or why don't we publish on social media? The answer is because we aren't there doing the work. Moving along. You've all seen this before. I'm not going to talk about the role of the decisions. But what I am asking for delegates to do next is to review the minutes and the transcripts. We only submit one set of corrections to our transcriptionist to correct the transcripts. So if our transcriptionist miswrote your name or your group or what you said, you get one chance to correct it for all time. So it really behooves us to read the transcript and find out that it's an accurate representation of what we said and what happened, and then submit your corrections to me. I gather them all up and I send them to our transcriptionist so she can correct the document once. It would be really helpful if we could do the same thing with the minutes, but you can correct the minutes right up until the day of the conference practically. So that's there. The minutes are published already. The transcripts I will email to you. The rules of the conference. So the standing rules, the rules of our conduct. We haven't proposed any changes to those for 2025. When I say we, I mean the board, because the board functions as the rules committee. So our job is to publish those rules, and your job is to say, those are okay, those work for me, or I think we should change a rule. So please review the rules on the website and let us know if you have any changes that you'd like to propose. Like the two things that we amended while we were in the meeting last year, we had a proposal to allow people to participate who came in late, but during the roll call. And we had a proposal to provide 3 minutes for the person presenting the proposal as opposed to 2 minutes, because we had the time available. So if you think we should do those on a permanent basis, you could propose that amendment by emailing me, chair@greysheet.org. It's all in the rules document. Join a committee. We have town halls, 3 town halls where you can hear more about what's going on. If you can't be there, ask somebody else from your group to be there. Joey and the communication committee will host tradition and concepts 3 times, so we can learn more about the traditions and concepts. So attend those. And then Joey and Carla and the rest of the communication committee will have this meeting in March, June, and September for us to hear from the committees what they're proposing for 2025. Registration will open in February, and we'll have training in May and in October. So please plan on attending delegate training. Does anybody have any thoughts about what is asked of delegates over the course of the year? Okay. That's it. Oh, I thought there was something else. Never mind. That's it. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back to Joey as the chair of the communication committee and see if there's anything else that anybody wants from me. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Grania. So thank you all for coming. I just put on the chat the information for the upcoming committees connecting. We have everything on the month. It's also in our website. I also put on the tradition and concepts roundup. Our next one would be on February. That would be 3 times in the coming up year. And also Carla had put on our next one would be, I believe would be the last Sunday of this month, the quarterly town hall. So everything is in the chat. And if you have any questions, please communicate with me at communications@greysheet.org. Or you could call me. I'll also put in my phone number. Going back to you, Carla, do you have anything that you want to put on?
Thank you, Joey. Linda, you had something?
I believe it's communication singular at GreySheet.org, not communications.
Great. See what a great team we are?
Thank you, thank you, Linda. Communication@greysheet.org.
Well, it was a debrief plus. Thank you so much, Grania. It's good to hear about it and to realize that it doesn't have to be so daunting, that it's graspable and tangible. And we put our announcements out there. Do we have any general questions? Anything? We've got some time if anybody has any questions or comments or concerns. Grania?
Yep, thanks, Carla. One of the things that the board discussed yesterday in a subcommittee type of meeting was that committees are adjusting their meeting schedule to meet their workload and their membership demands. So the finance committee only meets 4 times a year already. The conference committee only meets 6 times a year. And now the nominating committee has gone to every other month. And Linda, remind me of the structure committee schedule. Is it whenever Linda is not working, we might have a meeting? Remind me.
It's basically that. It's going to be about 7 months out of the year.
Okay. So we're not, the structure committee is no longer meeting every month. So just as an illustration, these are not written in stone. There's a lot of flexibility as long as we are coming together, making decisions and trying to get the work done. It's up to the members to organize it. Thanks.
Thank you, Grania. Anybody else?
Carl, I want to add up, Joey here is so compulsive eater. As soon as I got the PowerPoint from Grania, which I know she always does it very, very fast, we are going to put on that PowerPoint link in the Facebook, internal Facebook, so that everyone could view that before we had it, put it in the website.
Great. Great, great, great. Get it out there. Wonderful. Well, if there's nothing further, we can go ahead and Linda.
Sorry, you were all about to be free. Everybody here does tons of service. Right? I'm looking around. It seems to me everybody does. If we aren't active on a committee, we are active in our groups. And I guess I'm just wondering, do we think we're just not educating people about the importance of service? Like, has it just fallen off the list of things we do to support our recovery as a community? I'm preaching to the choir, so I'm asking you, what do you think is the reason we don't have people?
I would,
Hello.
the groups that I'm in, my regular home groups tend to have the same people doing the group level service as well. I don't know how we failed necessarily to communicate the principle of service, but I would say that it is a long-term trend in when we had live meetings, it was the case that the same people would rotate service. And now with Zoom meetings, it tends to be the same people who rotate service. I also hesitate to say that the people who are not showing up in the meetings that I see them at are not doing service elsewhere. It's very possible that someone who never volunteers to do service for my Thursday or Saturday meeting has a full workload on the phone meetings. I do think that we are a small community worldwide, and that I am guessing that this level of organization that we have didn't happen for AA until they had many more numbers than we do. I think we're in an aspirational situation where what we want to achieve is difficult with our actual numbers. The other side of, which means I sound like I'm suggesting it just will take time. However, I also think GreySheet is not for everybody. And in the time I've been in GreySheet, which is now nearly 40 years, there are many, 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 many other food programs out there now. So, and I do watch our core not bringing in a lot of young people. This is a very long answer, but I've never shared on this level in this community. I do wonder how much we will be able to become what it is that we aspire to become. That's my thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Colette. Thank you. Stacy?
Thank you, Carla. So I agree entirely with what Colette said. Also, not to just always blame things on COVID, but I'll tell you how I think it's related. I think it's related that when people were asking the question about why the service dropped off a bit, like there was so much and then it dropped off, I think that it was, GreySheet became more structured in the last 5 years or so. And there was about a 3-year period of time, at least 2 years, where people had, and I'm not just speaking for myself, some people had no time on their hands because they were first responders, and some people had a ton of time on their hands. So meetings were very well attended. The committee meetings were very well attended. A lot of service was being done in GreySheet. As people went back to their lives and as some exhaustion set in from the constant, service that was being done, I think that that contributes to it a little bit too.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you. Gary?
I think that the general level of participation is way less than I would have ever hoped it would be. I am, for example, the dasher on one of the phone bridge meetings. Okay, there are typically 30 people at least on that meeting. Okay, and people, almost no one is willing to volunteer to give a 5-minute lead. Okay, and even in terms of people volunteering to be able to, to share. Okay, and I think that what we are seeing at this point is a lot of people who come and show up at our meetings are looking to get something, but are not willing to give anything. I don't know that I have an answer for that, but it's what I'm observing.
Thank you, Gary. Linda?
Hi, everybody. I'm Linda, a compulsive overeater. I want to just take it from my own experience from my bottom level. I was told by my sponsor, day one, you weigh and measure your food and you do service. If you want to stay abstinent, you do service. You take out chairs. And I tell my sponsees the same thing. Just get involved. Stay in the middle of the herd. I have done service continually for all the time that I've been in GreySheet. Do I like it all the time? Absolutely not. But I believe, for me, it came from my sponsor who stressed that I need to do service. So I don't know if people tell their sponsees. I know that I tell mine all the time. I have a sponsee who was an ISR, who was a GSR, and I just keep on them for doing service, even no matter how small it is. A lot of people are afraid because there's so many directives about what the service involves. I said, just do it. I was like that as well. Like, when I first went on to the conference committee, I was so afraid of Grania. Are you kidding me? Then they asked me to do the background of the conference. Joey and I almost threw up. I'm like, are you kidding me? How am I going to do that? But you know what? You have trainers. They're right in front of you. They're right here. They'll train you to do anything. So I'm grateful that I do some background work. It makes me feel good. I make mistakes, but progress, not perfection. So thanks.
Thank you, Linda. Grania?
Thank you, Carla. Thank you, everybody. It's great to hear from different people and their perspectives. I have started attending DA meetings since April, and Linda will remember that our first non-compulsive eater trustee was a member of the DA Board of Trustees, and he brought us their service manual, which was like this thick, and it still is. I still have a copy, but they also have a copy on their website, and it's huge. And so he told us that we are punching above our weight, that for a community the size that we are, which we know is no more than 1,500 people around the world. Like right now at this moment, there are no more than 1,500 people weighing and measuring and calling themselves GreySheeters. And for a community with that number of people, you have to think about a third of them are just focusing on being abstinent today. And a third of them are like Linda, working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and barely can get their meals in between shifts. That only leaves us a potential of, say, 400 people around the world to do work, and not all of them speak English, So it's not like, and then we have this fabulous website, and we do have a Facebook group, and we have a conference every year, and we have amazing finance policies and procedures which are followed. And, we have all these things, And he told us we are punching above our weight and doing way more than we really could legitimately expect, given who we are. But what I notice in DA meetings is they never stop talking about world service. They talk about world service as if you will get involved with world service right from the beginning. Right from the moment you walk in the door, you are going to get involved with world service in one level or another. So they do. So maybe we, just the whatever 16 of us, can start talking about it. And then maybe next year it'll be 30 people talking about it. And the year after that, it'll be 90 people talking about it. Just like Linda said, talking about doing service as a matter of course. It's just what you do. If we want a website, we need people on the website committee. If we feel sad about all the people who've never heard of GreySheet, we join the Public Information Committee, you know. So I'm going to start talking about it more. I know that Linda does it whenever she qualifies. She talks about how much service has meant to her and what service she's done. And I never do. So I'm going to change. I'm going to do it. We can all do it. Thanks.
Thank you, Grania. Maggie?
Yes, Maggie, compulsive eater, and grateful to be here. Thank you, everyone. And I just wanted to say, from my perspective, bottom line service is showing up. I was told showing up at meetings and sponsoring is an important and crucial service. And there, you know, it's one of the reasons why the startup sponsorship team was started, was to give people who are looking for the solution to make it available to them. And one of the things that I did when I started being an outpost, when I moved out of New York City, was that I started attending regular OA meetings. And I know that's a difficult ask given given what we do and what they do. However, the people that have come through regular OA, I hear that all the time in people's qualifications, that they heard about us through regular OA. And I have attended regular OA Zoom meetings and said my mantra and not met with, you know, with a level of distrust. And I'm just wondering, I'm putting out there, if more of us were to make an effort in the regular rooms to let people know that we are here, we are abstinent, we are available, you know, I just wanted to put that out there as a possible addition in terms of solutions for how to attract new members to our program. Thanks.
Thank you, Maggie. Anyone else?
Thank you all for entertaining my question.
Yes, yes. Okay. I'll slowly say that we can unmute. Thank you everyone for being here. And let's unmute and close our meeting today with the Serenity Prayer. How about the we version? God,
Grant us
Grant
the
us the
serenity
to
accept the
accept
things we
things
cannot
we
change,
change,
courage to
the
change the
courage to
things we
change the
can,
things we
and
can,
wisdom
And the
to know the
wisdom.
and the
difference.
wisdom to know the difference.
Keep coming back.
Come back,
Works,
work,
keep working.
No,
no matter
Don't eat no
what,
matter what.
don't worry.
No
All
matter what,
right,
no
Worth
matter what,
it.
have a good one.
lunch is coming.
yes, lunch is